these previous 4 sections. But it's section 1 that's the important one. So we're going to read it out loud. We might break it up a little bit, but we're definitely going to put it up on the screen for you. So here we go, 14th Amendment, section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state where they reside. Okay, so there you go. Dred Scott is dead, right? So therefore, everybody that was born in the United States, which means all slaves who were born here, are automatic citizens. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdictions the equal protection of the laws. So therefore you have kind of 2 sections, saying everybody gets equal protection, states give your citizens equal protection, and don't mess with due process. All right, Plessy v. Ferguson. This is the big one, right? Plessy v. Ferguson is 1896, and it's the first chance that the Supreme Court has to basically use the 14th Amendment to protect a black person from their state government. This is, the test case in federalism and civil rights. And the Supreme Court drops the ball. The Supreme Court states that separate could be equal, that separate but equal in a sense. That if the Separate Car Act is saying, blacks on this train and whites on this train, that doesn't mean that they're not equal separate halves. Now, of course, that's just laughable looking at the surface and the reality of the situation in the South. But nevertheless, the Supreme Court, by doing that, is basically saying that Jim Crow is constitutional. So, therefore, we're going to have decades and decades of Southern legal segregation discrimination. Now, we fast forward to 1954, and this is the other court case you need to know. If you're writing an essay, you start with Plessy and you end with Brown versus Board of Ed. And this, of course, is where the Supreme Court looks at a Kansas law that segregates children by race in schools and says, no, I don't think so. All right, we're going to grow up here, and separate is not equal. That separate is inherently unequal. And if you ever research that court case, it's really interesting because they talk about the psychology of race segregation back then and how the children that were being segregated had self-esteem issues, and so did the racist children too. So it's not good for anybody.